Section 4 of the Book of the Ancient Greeks. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Read by Jim DeBias. The Book of the Ancient Greeks by Dorothy Mills. Chapter 1. The Land of Greece. The land to which people belong always helps to form their character and to influence their history. And the land of Greece, its mountains and plains, its sea and sky, was of great importance in making the Greeks what they were. The map shows us three parts of Greece: northern Greece, a rugged mountainous land; then central Greece, with a fertile plain running down to more mountains; and then, across a narrow sea, the peninsula, the Peloponnesus. One striking feature of the whole country is the nearness of every part of it to the sea. The coast is deeply indented with gulfs and bays, and the neighboring sea is dotted with islands. It is a land of sea and mountains. The soil is not rich. About 1/3 of the country is mountainous and unproductive and consists of rock. Forests are found in the lower lands, but they are not like our forests. The trees are smaller, and the sun penetrates even the thickest places. The trees most often found are the laurel, the oleander, and the myrtle. The forests were thicker in ancient times. They are much thinner now, owing to the carelessness of peasants who, without thinking of the consequences, have wastefully cut down the trees. The land used by the Greeks for pasture was that which was not rich enough for cultivation. Goats and sheep and pigs roamed over this land, and the bees made honey there. In ancient times there was no sugar, and honey was a necessary article of food. The cultivated land lay in the plains. The mountains of Greece do not form long valleys, but they enclose plains, and it was here that the Greeks cultivated their corn and wine and oil, and their cities grew up separated from each other by the mountains. Corn, wine, and oil were absolutely necessary for life in the Mediterranean world. Every Greek city tried to produce enough corn, chiefly wheat and barley, for its inhabitants, for the difficulties and sometimes dangers were great when a city was not self-sufficing. Wine, too, was necessary for the Greeks, though they were a temperate nation, could not do without it. Oil was even more important, for it was used for cleansing purposes, for food, and for lighting. Even today, the Greeks used but little butter, and where we eat bread and butter, they use bread and olives, or bread and goat's cheese. The olive is cultivated all over Greece, but especially in Attica, where it is regarded as the gift of Athena herself. It was looking across the sea to Attica that, in Salamis, filled with the foaming of billows and murmurs of bees, old Telamon stayed from his roaming, long ago on a throne of the seas, looking out on the hills olive-laden, enchanted were the first from the earth. They, gray gleaming fruit of the maiden Athena, had birth. The olive is not a large tree, and its chief beauty is in the shimmer of the leaves, which glisten a silvery gray in the sunshine. Olive trees take a long time to mature. They do not yield a full crop for 16 years or more, and they are nearly 50 years old before they reach their fullest maturity. It is no wonder that the olive is a symbol of peace. Herodotus, the earliest of the Greek historians, wrote that it was the lot of Hellas to have its seasons far more fairly tempered than other lands. The Mediterranean is a borderland, midway between the tropics and the colder north. In the summer, the cool winds from the north blow upon Greece, making the climate pleasant. But in the winter, they blow from every quarter, and according to the poet Hesiod, were a great trouble to mortals. Greek life was a summer life, and the ancient Greeks lived almost entirely out of doors, sailing over the sea, attending to all their affairs in the open air, from the shepherd watching his flock on the mountainside to the philosopher discussing politics in the marketplace. But the Greeks were a hardy race, and though the winter life must have been chilly and uncomfortable, life went on just the same until the warm spring sunshine made them forget the winter cold. What kind of people were made by these surroundings, and what was their spirit? The hardy mountain life developed a free and independent spirit, and as the mountains cut off the dwellers in different plains from each other, separate city-states were formed, each with its own laws and government. This separation of communities was a source of weakness to the country as a whole, but it developed the spirit of freedom and independence in the city dweller as well as in the mountaineer. As all parts of Greece were within easy reach of the sea, the Greeks naturally became sailors. They loved the sea and were at home upon it, and this seafaring life developed the same spirit of freedom and independence. The mild climate relieved the Greeks of many cares which come to those who live in the harsher lands. But the atmosphere was clear and bracing, which stimulated clear thinking. The Greeks were the first great thinkers in the world. They were possessed of passion for knowing the truth about all things in heaven and earth, and few people have sought truth with greater courage and clearness of mind than the Greeks. The poor soil of their land made it necessary for them to work hard and to form habits of thrift and economy. It was not a soil that made them rich, so they developed a spirit of self-control and moderation, and learned how to combine simple living with high thinking to a greater degree than any other nation has ever done. But if their soil was poor, they had all round them the exquisite beauty of the mountains, sea and sky, surroundings from which they learned to love beauty in a way that has never been excelled, if, indeed, it has ever been equaled. The spirit of a nation expresses itself, and its history is recorded in various ways. In the social relations of the people both with each other and with other nations, and this is called its political history. In its language, which expresses itself in its literature, and in its building, which is its architecture, the Greek people were lovers of freedom, truth, self-control, and beauty. It is in their political history, their literature, and their architecture that we shall see some of the outward and visible signs of the spirit that inspired them. And the land of Greece is the setting in which they played their part in the history of civilization. End of section 4. Read by Jim DeBias, Northeast Maryland, September 20, 2022.